listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon, beautiful citizens of the Borderland. This is 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Frecka. Today we're broadcasting from the heart of the world's largest borderplex. We're here at the KELP studio in El Paso, and we have Mac Daddy Del Norte on the board. Mac Daddy, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good, Andy. How about yourself?
You know, I was thinking, how am I doing? And this is what I would say.
Yeah?
I'm pretty tranquilo.
Ooh, wow.
Like, how's that for an answer?
But that is really good. That
Yeah,
means you're super chill.
Yeah, you know, I was learning some Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, and they said if you're asked how you're doing, don't say muy bien.
Oh, wow.
And so one of the options was tranquilo.
Tranquilo.
Like I'm super tranquil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
All is well. Do you know why all is well?
I can imagine, but I want to hear you say it.
You know, I have run out of adjectives to describe the wonder and joy of this educational journey that we have embarked upon each and every day, every weekday, I should say, as we learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. And today, Mac Daddy Del Norte, we have a very special guest in the studio.
Oh, wow.
Do you know why he's special?
Oh, yeah, because he is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
That is correct. He is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God. Also, you know, you think about how does the world work? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, actually.
You know, you think about politics, right? You think about engineering, road systems.
Yes.
What else would be there? Finances.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So if you want to know how finances work, you need to go find someone who's an expert in that, right?
Definitely.
Oh, before I continue, I do need to say that nothing in this broadcast is in any way to be construed as financial or legal advice. But is for informational purposes only.
Definitely.
We're just two guys talking.
Yes.
If you need financial advice, you need to go to an expert, a professional, pay them some money, someone who understands the specifics of your situation.
Nice.
Having said that, we're going to be two guys talking.
Okay.
And we're going to have we have a CPA in the studio. Do you know what CPA stands for?
No, I don't.
You're not going to take a stab?
No. I'm really bad at
Certified public accountant.
Nice.
And I don't mean to bury the lead, but he doesn't do taxes. I did not know that was even possible. I don't even know what he's doing if he's not doing taxes, but we're definitely going to dive into that. But he's a very active member of our community. He's the board president at the Rio Grande Cancer Foundation. He's a member of the Rotary Club. He's, of course, in all the institutes and societies that are related to CPAs, and just really, again, an active member of our community. But we're going to be talking about business valuation. We're going to be talking about risk analysis, because I don't know how interesting that sounds to you, Mac Daddy Del Norte, but I know your dream is to start a barber shop.
Yeah, someday maybe.
Someday maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. You've talked about opening a barber shop at the radio station so that when we can cut our guests' hair as we're talking.
As we're talking.
But how will you know how much that business is worth?
Good question.
You need to find an expert.
Yes, sir.
So, So anyway, we're going to be talking about all these things. He's a partner over at Lauterbach and Borschau. That they're certified public accountants. They're right here.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to the one, the only, Mr. Rick Miller. Rick, welcome to 915 Talk.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot to dive into. It's fun for me to have this radio program. I was telling you before we went on air. We have surgeons on. We have different types of educators on, all these different things. And we're going to be talking about accounting now for an hour. And I think our audience is ready for this.
Well, I hope they don't fall asleep on us.
But when I think of an accountant, a CPA, I only think of taxes. And that's one of the first things you told me is you don't do taxes. So what else is there left for an accountant to do?
Well, there's a lot to be done. I mean, yes, every time I introduce myself as a CPA, they say, well, the first question is, taxes is the firm does taxes. I'm not saying that we don't, but I myself do not. I'm on the assurance side of the practice. That means a lot. We can do consulting. We do audits of different entities, evaluation work. You mentioned that earlier. But there's a wide variety of things that are done that taxes are a part of it, but it's not our primary.
Yeah. So what are assurances?
Assurances are services that we will perform, and it's typically related to a borrowing agreement that a company may have, or maybe a regulatory requirement if they're a regulated industry, that we were hired to go in and perform an audit to give our opinion if the financial statements that they are using and providing to their lenders or regulators, if they are complete and accurate.
Okay. Yeah. So if a business, what I'm hearing you say, if a business wanted to get some credit, take out a loan, they need to prove that they can actually pay back the loan.
Right.
And that would be an assurance. You would go in, look at everything in the business and say, yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that they can repay it, or they're just blowing a bunch of smoke and they can't repay it.
Well, it's not so much can they repay it, but they're preparing financial statements that they're presenting to the lender in this situation, and they're saying, well, these are prepared internally. So human nature is, are these accurate, or are you fudging the numbers?
Right.
And that's where they have us come in, request us to come in,
right,
to say, okay, are these numbers, are they accurate? What the company is preparing?
Right. And then I think of this a lot.
Okay.
Because we live in a world where not everyone is honest even with themselves.
Okay.
And so as a CPA, when you go into a company and you're kind of going through all the financials, are there certain red flags that are kind of pop out, like, oh, this person maybe doesn't even understand their own business? On the smaller the company, I'm going to say that is more common than not. Yeah. Not so much that they don't. Not red flags, but it's more that they don't understand the accounting. Okay. They're concerned about running a business, creating contacts, creating the revenue stream to help pay for salaries and so forth. But the accounting requirements behind that is where they may or may not have a real good grasp of it. Oh, so especially in small business. Yes. Because, and again, I don't mean to say, even by asking this, that someone is intentionally misleading, but like you say, they might not even understand what's going on. So what would be a common misconception that someone would have about the accounting in their own business? Well, the critical aspect of any operation is cash flow. Okay. We generate enough cash flow to pay our staff, pay our bills, pay our rent, pay our utilities, and so forth. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when people sit there and they look at an operation, they don't have a real good. So what they think they may have. They go open up the bank statement and say, "Oh, there's a lot of money in here. Okay, I'm good to go." But if the accounting isn't there to say, "Okay, well, a lot of this time you spent this money, or you've got obligations that you're going to have to pay for." Oh, sure. So you want to be able to say, "Okay, just because I've got,
for example, $50,000 in the bank, and I'm good to go. No, where you got to look at what else is coming up and so forth.
Right.
And that's where we see a lot of, in the smaller operations, we think, you need to get a handle on what your true cash position is.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, of course, we're Christian radio. Our listeners are mainly from the faith community.
Right.
But I think also just for any small business owner, when they're just trying to make things work, it can be tempting to not take that objective view of where things are at.
Right.
And that's where an accountant comes in and maybe with a little bit of a straight face gives them some bad news that they don't want to hear.
No, it's not uncommon that you'll pick up the phone and say, well, let's go over these. And you sit there and they say, well, I don't understand that. And I say, you have to walk them through. This is what, we've got these debts you have to pay. And it's not that they don't know about it or they're ignorant to it, but they just don't factor that into, this is what my true cash position is.
Yeah, and getting back to being, I'm saying this just not to be funny, but faith community, listening and hope dies last, and you're really hoping things will work out for your business, and you're not taking that really hard view of where you're at. So assurances, that's where you come in. Let's talk about risk analysis.
Okay.
First of all, what is that?
Risk analysis is within a company's operation is looking at what do I do if something goes wrong?
Okay.
Like if I'm expecting that I'm going to have this revenue stream, I'm going to have these customers and so forth, or I've got this on the operation side, on the supply side, I'm expecting to be able to have this person to be able to buy from, to be able to buy my purchases at this price, and this is what I'm used to. What happens if that goes away? Mm-hmm. What is my alternative? Okay. And that's what we look for companies to look at. Look at who your critical customers are, who your critical vendors are, to say, if can I rely on them? How good are they? What are they being able to produce, so that I know I can operate my business.
Oh, so as part of this, you're providing information on the companies that you partner with?
Not so much. Okay. We look to companies to really, from a CPA's perspective, when we perform an audit, we go in and look at where your risks are from what we're going to need to make sure that for us to give you an opinion on, are these financial statements correct? Okay. So we look at it from what the companies are and so forth. But a lot of times from a consulting perspective, we'll tell somebody you need to look at your operations and say, if you've got, and as an example, let's say you're a restaurant and you're buying a lot of, salad type products and so forth. Where are you getting these from? Are you getting them from, reputable vendors? If you're not reputable, but established vendors and so forth, is that supply chain going to be there? And and here in recent times with COVID and all the different issues that have happened, you've seen companies with supply chains really just go away. Yeah. And that was really, thank God for all the COVID money that came in from the government, because that was a risk that nobody saw coming. Right. So it's kind of an outlier. Like, you put on your crystal ball and say, where is it coming from? And I say, okay.
Yeah, I guess that's one of those things. It's getting an extra set of eyes on potential risks is why you would reach out to a CPA who specializes in that. It's impossible to predict every risk that's ever happened in the history of planet Earth.
No, it is. Yeah. It is. But a CPA will do that as a consulting type of their practice and say, let's look at your operations and let's make sure you don't have any surprises in that. Right.
Okay. I would think big business would just have risk analysis as part of their annual or calendar?
Oh, it's an ongoing.
Yeah,
it's an ongoing. They have risk departments that evaluate, all the supply chains and all the customer chains and make sure that it's going.
Right.
Smaller businesses typically don't do that. Because one, it's not cost effective to do it, but it's something as you're growing, you sit there and say, okay, what we encourage people to look at that along with just as you grow, make sure your accounting is. You've got the right systems and the right personnel and so forth in that regard.
Sure, and if someone's listening and they're a small business owner and it's growing, what would be a sign that they really need to look into this risk assessment?
That's I don't know if that's a real concern.
Okay.
For a smaller business.
Okay.
From a smaller business, it's more as you really start. I want to say getting to be possibly even a regional business.
Okay,
in that respect, but some of the smaller business. I think most of the business in El Paso, they're the one that are clients that I do with, other than the large corporations and so forth. The mom and pops, I don't think they really do that.
Okay,
in that respect.
Yeah, because there's of course a price tag associated with this kind of work.
It is,
and it's I would assume costly, as you said, for a small business.
Right. But
for a big business, they can't afford not to do it.
They cannot afford it. Right. Yes, they cannot. You're correct. It's critical.
Okay, no, that's super interesting. I love learning about all these things. If you're just joining us, we're with Rick Miller. He's a CPA here in El Paso. He's with Lauterbach and Borschau. We've been talking about what do CPAs do if they're not doing taxes? But I love this educational journey, and I think it's useful for folks just to learn how the world works. And first of all, and then for those who are in the finance, the business space, just for them to maybe pause for a moment and think, well, do I need to get an extra set of eyes on what I'm doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, again, very often I think we can be honest with others, but not so much with ourselves. So it's good to get that extra input. We do need to go into a break. Before going to the break, this is your daily reminder that 915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. The website is desertvoice.media, and you can listen to this or any previous 915 Talk there on desertvoice.media. Just click on that 915 Talk link. Also, I would remind you that 915 Talk is available in podcast form. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, also Amazon. That's a new one. I don't really know how that works, but on that point, Mac Daddy Del Norte has been working hard. He's been working hard, and all of the programming on this radio station is now available on Alexa. You can just say, "Hey Alexa, play KELP radio." We're looking to get this programming out in every medium possible. So we appreciate all of you who listen, whether it be on the AM, the FM, or the more modern varieties, whatever it could be. We're just here to get the programming out to the world. So appreciate each of you who join us in this educational journey on 915 Talk as we learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our Borderland for Christ.
Breaking worldwide news. You can now feed your mind, feed your soul with great Christian teaching and talk on Alexa. That's right. All you have to say is, "Hey Alexa, play KELP radio," and boom! Instant Christian teaching, talk, and truth 24/7.
915.
Testify.
I want to give God all the honor, all the glory, all the praise. There was a time in my life that I was lost in drugs, using and selling, living a sinfully life for 24 years of my life. I was empty, full of hate, anger, bitterness, selfish lies, and perversion. God saved me by His grace. I'm no longer empty. I'm no longer lost. He changed my mind, my heart, and my behavior. I'm no longer slave of anything. Today I know that there's power in the name of Jesus. Today I know that there's purpose. Today I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully created to make impact through Him, to speak truth, to serve, to give, to love, to forgive, to be kind, to have accountability, to preach by example, and to always know that the victory is His. His will be done. My name is Lev Davidovich. If God can do this for me, He can do it for you.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
And by the word of their testimony.
desertvoice.media.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you are listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Freck, and today we're with Rick Miller. He's a CPA. He's with Lauterbach Borschau here in El Paso. We're talking about what does a CPA do if they're not doing taxes, because taxes isn't your thing. But it's super fun to learn about all these things, because I think a lot of times we can assume that things work a certain way, and then when you start to drill into it, you find out it works a completely different way. And like we're talking about, CPAs really understand how at least the financial world works, and I'm sure in the middle of that you get to learn about how a lot of other things work, because we were talking about supply chains.
Right.
There's so many other things out there. But let's talk a little bit about your journey. You were with a national accounting firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers, is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then you were with a local credit union as CFO. That's a pretty big deal. So what drew you from that to just focusing on the border community here?
Well, when I started my career with Coopers and Lybrand, now Price Waterhouse, worked with national clients. It was interesting work. It was a great education. Learned a lot about all the regulatory reporting that goes on beyond publicly traded companies and so forth. It was a good experience. And then I started working with some financial institutions as clients and so forth, and really found a passion with them. I really thought I kind of just understood them by nature. I thought I found that I did. I didn't realize I did, but worked with them, and there was a client that I worked on that got acquired, and after the acquisition was done, they needed a controller or head accountant, and they said, "You know our business better than anybody, so how about coming on board?" And so I did that. Long story short, it led to 15 years working in financial institutions in different fashions and so forth. And I had an opportunity to come back to public accounting. Had always stayed in contact with a good friend of mine that was a partner with Lauterbach, and he kept saying, "Whenever you want to, come back." And I just, really thought, I find myself that I was satisfied in what I was doing, but it was always one set of numbers. It was this entity's numbers, this entity's forecasts, and so forth. I was a little mundane, if you will. So I went back and said, public accounting, you work with a variety of clients, different industries, on a periodic basis throughout the year. So there's always something new going to be out there. So I said,
"Oh, interesting, yeah."
So I went back to my wife, and she remembers the long hours I did when I was a national farm, and she says, "You have lost your mind." But she goes, do what you got to do. Yeah. 29 years later, it's been the best choice we ever made.
Wow. So you've been with Lauterbach Borschau for 29 years?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Super fun. So what I'm hearing you say is you like working with different types of businesses, and I'm sure that you have to learn a lot about their business, like we're talking about supply chains,
right,
different types of vendors, all these different things, how they all work together. Also, I would assume here the fact that we're in the borderland has a big effect on all the businesses.
It does. It does. It's the financial institutions. They don't necessarily do cross-border lending, if you will, because that's they're more distant in El Paso, but their customers are dealing with that. They're dealing with that quite often. I mean, and I don't, real estate companies are leasing out to vendors from both sides of the border and so forth. So it drives the border. It drives all economy here.
Right.
In that respect.
Does that add an additional layer of auditing that you wouldn't find in most parts of the nation if there's vendors and clients that are across the border?
There's not so much additional layer of auditing, just a different set of risks that are associated with it. So when we talked earlier about the risk assessments from an audit perspective, we'll look at it and say, how much of this business is done in Mexico? Okay, and how are those Mexico numbers getting brought into your numbers? And see how, what do we have to do to be able to rely on what's being reported from the Mexican? Because the Mexican, they may follow a different set of it. They follow their Mexican accounting standards, not the U.S. accounting standards. So the variables are not too significant, but they are there.
Right. Yeah. And it's a different layer of risk, is what I'm hearing you say.
Right. And then of course, the common thing with any foreign entity, you have to translate the money from their currency to our currency. And
if the currency goes wild on the other side of the border, that makes for a totally different set of numbers.
Right. It does. It does. So that's when we deal with them, it's just more, like I said, getting comfortable with what's coming from them and what audit procedures we have to do to account for that.
Wow. Yes. So that's super fun. You have all these different businesses. You're here in the borderland. You're needing to learn not just their numbers. You need to learn their business.
You do, and that's what really drove me back to public accounting. Is I've been doing it. Thank the Lord now for 40 plus years. I would like to think I understand what I'm doing.
Sure.
But I learn something new every day. Be it, I'd say it's either from a new entity or a new type of operation I'm looking into. We as an audit team, or we have to learn how do they operate? What are where are their sources of revenue? Where do they pay their expenses? And what controls do they have within their operations to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks and so forth.
And I love hearing that. You're saying that you've been in the accounting space for 40 plus years, and you're still learning.
Oh yes.
And I love hearing that because I think for some people in some businesses they can say, well, I already know it all.
Right.
And how boring is that, first of all? And I remember when I was living overseas in the past, I would go to the doctor, and if the doctor said, I already know everything, I would go find a different doctor. Exactly. I want a doctor that's always learning the latest thing. And also with accounting, I'm sure that it's, there's always new regulations, and there's, as you're saying, new businesses to be learned. If you're just joining us with Rick Miller, he's a CPA. He's over at Lauterbach Borschau, as we just learned 40 plus years of experience in the CPA space, in the accounting space, finances. Love it. Learning how our community works. But right now we have Charlie One on the phone. Charlie One, how you doing this afternoon?
Good, Andy. There's a few trouble spots here. Oh, well, not too bad, but then there's a lot of closures going on also. So we'll get to that. First of all, the Northeast. This one just happened. This crash, Macombs, Manila. What a busy one here. A crash here that's really going to tie it up. Macombs in Manila. It's going to be PD activity. They're not there yet. Also in central Montana, in Mar, we have a crash PD. On that, they're already at the scene on that one, Montana and Mar. But watch for these construction areas. Talking specifically about I-10 East and Red, left lane taken away. I-10 West and Artcraft, right lane taken away. That area, Red, Artcraft, both sides of the freeway, under a lot of construction there, so kind of slow up both sides of the freeway, narrowing down the lane. So have to be just extra cautious going through that area. Then also, Mesa. There's the area there, Mesa with lane closures going on there. US 54, US 54 north and south, and the ski hills, closures that go on there. So there's a lot of closures going on there. And back to you.
Charlie One, today we have with us Rick Miller in the studio. He's a CPA. He's over at Ladderback Boschow, and we're talking about accounting. And of course, with accounting, you have to talk about expenses. And, you know, there's a lot of expenses to life, especially here in the Borderland. But there's one expense that we can always say is money well spent, and that is menudo. Where would you recommend our listeners go for their daily bowl of menudo?
You are correct, and especially because when you're talking about expenses, this is not expensive. This is not your sirloin T-bone steak. This is not your top line steak that you can order and just, you know, they're good, but so the menudo very moderately priced. It's ready to go. They make it, and the good thing is it's prepared and ready to go real quick. So you're in and out of there. You're in a hurry. It's not just relax and enjoy. That menudo, Mi Pueblito Cafe, 3120 Traywood.
Yes, Mi Pueblito Cafe, 3120 Traywood. Unfortunately, they only work till 4 in the afternoon. So you need to get your menudo before you turn on this radio station to listen to 915 Talk. But they open up at 7 in the morning. And menudo is kind of the breakfast of champions here in the Borderland. Wouldn't you agree, Charlie One?
That's true, you know, and they're open. Now, I don't know if they're open on Thanksgiving. However, every day they're open at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday they're open till 8 o'clock at night.
All right. Well, going from menudo on Thanksgiving is a level I'm not sure I'm ready for, but we really appreciate Mi Pueblito Cafe. Thank you, Charlie One. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Good bet. And
we're back with Rick Miller. We're talking accounting. At the beginning of the program, Rick, we talked about business valuation. I was talking with Mac Daddy about his dream to buy a barbershop. I guess the question is very simple. How do you know how much a business is worth?
That is a very good question. A lot of times I get people looking to buy small businesses or sell their business and so forth, and they just don't know what is a good number. Mm-hmm. What's a good number to start with and so forth. And it's really based upon a return of what the cash the business generates. Mm-hmm. So you look, that's what evaluation specialist, we look to see what is the normal cash flow for this operation. Okay. So what that means is after all my revenues are received, my expenses are paid, salaries are paid, what is left to go to the owner?
Okay, so let's say we're going to come up with a random amount. $5,000 a month comes to the owner.
Okay.
Just as a rule of thumb, a very general idea, how do you then calculate what the business is actually worth?
So from that standpoint, you'd look at that annual cash flow. Mm-hmm. So you say $5,000 a month, so that's $60,000 a year.
Sure.
You take that $60,000 a year and apply a discount rate to that number. Mm-hmm. And that discount rate is developed from a lot of factors that drive it, but it's typically common. What's the risk-free rate that you can take that $60,000, put it out in a treasury bill, mm-hmm. and say, what is that going to be my return?
Oh, okay.
So that means for that $60,000 that I'm going to get, what is that worth? Mm-hmm. So the treasury rate, the risk-free treasury rate, is the initial number that you use to. Now, a small business, closely held operations, you start building other factors into it that increases the risk, because the treasury bill historically is risk-free, mm-hmm. but now there's a lot of risk because there's a business and so forth. So you start looking at what's the risk for that industry, what's the risk for the size of the company, what is the risk associated with maybe the specific operations of that company. You develop that through interviews with the ownership and so forth.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
And you do all that. You develop this, and so there's not necessarily it becomes a little bit more of an art than mm-hmm. it is a science.
Sure.
I mean, there's standards that we have to follow, but in the developing of it, it's the education, the experience of the evaluator. What have I seen with other operations and so forth?
Yeah.
So that number comes up to depending on a fairly stable business that's well established and so forth, that rate's going to be somewhere in the 13-12% capitalization rate.
Okay.
So in the higher the number, the more riskier the operation, a little bit unknown, smaller, newer entities are going to have a higher capitalization rate. So the value is inverse to the risk. So if I have a relatively low risk, low discount rate, that means the value of the company is going to be higher. Excuse me. Versus something that's got a higher discount rate, the value of the company is going to be lower.
Okay, so again, I love what you're saying about the art of it,
right?
Because I'm sure let's start off with the objective part to make sure I understood.
Okay.
I always enjoy quizzing myself to make sure I understood what I'm learning. But you said 13%. And if it's $60,000 a year that the owner is able to put in his pocket, is it then roughly a $500,000 business?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's if it's like you're saying, if it's like very much we know that there's going to be demand in the future, that it's a stable business. You're selling something that everyone needs. Something like I don't know, milk and bread,
right?
Not something that's a fad,
right?
Not a fidget spinner,
correct?
That's going to do really well for 6 months and then disappear,
right?
So that's super interesting that you meet with the owners, you talk it through with them. Let's go to the far opposite side of this. Is there value just to a business idea?
Very little.
Very little.
Very little value to the business idea. Because the process to get that to be a revenue stream has to be developed.
Yeah, I find that to be so fun and interesting to talk about because I've had some people say, well, the value's in the idea. And then some people say, well, ideas are cheap.
Right.
It's all about the implementation.
Right.
And an accountant would probably agree that the idea is cheap. It's really making it work so he can see it on the spreadsheet.
Exactly. I mean, the idea may be, I remember sitting there with somebody talking about a process. That's a great idea and there's probably a great market for it. Mm-hmm. But how do you get it there?
Yeah, so exactly. So let's take the idea of Mac Daddy wants to have a barber shop. Just saying that putting out a business plan
right.
Doesn't have that much value.
Right.
But if you have a barber shop that already has a steady stream of customers
right.
that you can prove, there's a much, much higher value to that.
There's much higher value. And sometimes and I don't getting a little more technical here, but in a service business, like when somebody providing haircuts and for that matter, a CPA firm, a lawyer, a doctor, they may have that revenue stream established, but is it the individual that is generating or is it the business?
Right.
And so a barbershop, you may have customers in place and so forth, but if Mac Daddy can't do a haircut, then the customers are going to go somewhere else.
Right. Or it might be based on a personality.
Right.
People enjoy coming and getting their hair cut by this person.
Exactly.
And you take them out and the business fails to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you see when a transaction happens like that, you sit there and you have an agreement that says, okay, the owner of the business, the one that's got the relationships, that's got the personality and so forth, I'm going to need you to stick around for a couple of years post-sale so that I can help leverage what I'm paying you to buy the business so that I can develop my own relationship, my own aspect to it. Yeah,
and what I'm hearing you say is it's not really a business you can sell if it depends only on you.
Or the value depends on that individual. So you got to negotiate. If you want this purchase price, you have to negotiate that you got to help me in the transition.
Right. Yeah. And since you live in this world, do you ever see the buyer and seller really agree?
They come to a terms, and that in In our world, that's fair market value. It's a price that a willing buyer and a willing seller are willing to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm reminded of when I was a teenager, I asked my dad, I said, how much is our house worth? And he was a plumbing contractor. And he says, whatever someone's willing to pay for it.
and that's very much the case.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, why would someone hire someone like you to do that valuation? Is it just so you can bring a little bit more objectivity, have a third party, another set of eyes where it's not just between these two people?
That's exactly, hit the nail right on the head. That is what the purpose is. I mean, if you got an entity that somebody wants to sell, and they have a purchase price, and somebody else, has an idea, but our intent is to come up with what's fair. In that sense, and that's where you hire a valuation specialist to say, what is a fair price for this?
Love it. If you're just joining us with Rick Miller, he's over at Lauterbach Borschow. We're learning what CPAs do if they don't do taxes. But he's been 40 plus years, as we've learned, in the accounting space. Super fun to learn how all these things work, because I think for a lot of people, they dream of either buying or selling a business. And everyone has a number in their mind, but how does this actually work? And having someone here who's, as you kind of explain, how these numbers come to be, and it's not just pulled out of thin air, right. But it's a mixture of what I'm hearing you say is looking at the numbers, looking at treasury rates, but even these interviews to really understand how the business works. Right. Yeah,
exactly.
It's super fun, super fun. We do need to take a break. Before we go into the break, KELP Radio would like to thank all of its impact partners. The impact partners are local businesses, nonprofits, educational institutions who have joined us in our journey to serve our city through this radio ministry. The impact partner I would like to point out today and highlight is C12 Business Forums. C12 Business Forums, it's a group of Christian business owners that get together once a month. They learn from each other, hold each other accountable. Tiffany Etterling is the chair there for West Texas and New Mexico, and she also has a new program on this radio station called the 323 Podcast. It plays on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. The 323 Podcast is just learning interviews with local business leaders and just people who are changing their community. Tiffany is doing a fantastic job of hosting the show, and it's based on Colossians 3:23. Whatever we do, let's do it as unto the Lord and not unto men. And I hope that that's what all of us are doing, regardless of what space we're in, of what part of the community we're in. May we do everything we do it to the glory of God. But if you're interested in learning more about C12 Business Forums, if you're a business owner or maybe a key person in your business, you can find the C12 Business Forum link in our Impact Partner section at KELPradio.com. Yeah, you just go to KELPradio.com, scroll down, find the Impact Partner section, and you'll see C12 Business Forums right there. I love all of these conversations as we learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. We'll be back with Rick Miller, but first this break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Greetings, KELP listeners. This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Sun City, and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. Calvary Chapel, Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. If you are without a church home, we would love to have you join us for worship and Bible study. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org. Greetings, KELP listeners. This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Sun City, and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. Calvary Chapel, Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. If you are without a church home, we would love to have you join us for worship and Bible study. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you are listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Freckett, today with Rick Miller. He's CPA certified public accountant. He's over at Letterbeck Barschau. He's been in the CPA, the accounting financial space, for 40 plus years.
Can't believe it.
I bet you have some more
There
stories.
are.
Oh man, I love how when you get into the financial part, you really have to understand the business, and there are so many different businesses out there, and you're learning how all of these things work. So much fun, but you aren't just in the CPA space, the accounting space. You're also the board president of the Rio Grande Cancer Foundation.
That is,
yeah.
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit of what that's all about?
Well, the Cancer Foundation has been around for, gosh, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure how long, but a good while. Mm-hmm. And they are a foundation that is specifically meant to be not a caregiver, so to speak, but just for a help people deal with cancer and either while they're going through the process or in recovery or in remission and so forth, that they're there as a means to help them deal with their lives as they're going through the cancer journey or afterwards, in sense.
Okay, so the foundation is for people who are dealing with cancer.
Right.
I would say that's the most stressful part of their life.
Right.
So that what I'm hearing you say, they know they're not alone.
Exactly, because you get the cancer diagnosis, mm-hmm. and you think, okay, my life is over.
Sure.
And that's what I think most people do, is that that's their point. And then we found that it's not, mm-hmm. that there is life with and after cancer.
Yeah.
And that's what the Cancer Foundation is there to help support that.
All right. Well, I know you've been part of other different community organizations. What kind of compelled you to be a part of the Cancer Foundation?
It was somewhat more of a personal situation,
uh-huh.
because a family member was diagnosed with it and went through the process with it and saw that there was a lot for people that have to learn.
Sure.
In that respect. So when the opportunity came, said, would you consider being on our board? I thought, well, this is why. Because I think it's promoting the fact that when you do get the diagnosis, then there are resources out there to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone's out there and they're dealing with this cataclysmic event mm-hmm. of perhaps a diagnosis, they can reach out to the foundation?
They reach out to the foundation. Yeah. They're, obviously there's a lot going on in El Paso with Texas Tech and so forth, and developing to the treatment center
sure.
and so forth. But while it's in its beginning stages and so forth, we're there to not only support that, but also support, outside of the treatment, what is there to do? There's going to be a lot of times the survivors come to classes to just learn about different ways to diet, to exercise, and so forth. Mm-hmm. And if there's prosthetics that are needed or anything from a standpoint from that perspective, you can go to the cancer center, our cancer center, and to receive those resources.
All right. Love hearing about all these things, because you're I'm going to say you can qualify this, but you're up to your eyeballs in accounting.
Yes.
And yet you're finding time to be a part of the community.
It's time to give back.
Right.
You give back. I've been doing this for 40 years. Lord blessed me and my family with a great career, great, very comfortable lifestyle. I said it's time time to give back.
Super fun. And you're also a part of the Rotary Club.
That is correct.
I've only been to one Rotary Club meeting in my life.
Okay.
It was in Wisconsin. It seems like it's breakfast and a good speech from someone and some networking. What am I missing?
What are you missing? There's the El Paso Rotary Club. We have a different, I say different, we have several projects that we are there to raise money for and fund. One is a Ryla camp up in New Mexico, where we interview and take young adults, young teenagers out of high school, take them out to a camp for a week to help them learn life skills and so forth. And it's all done by volunteers. And they're to go up to spend a week. Is 1 week for boys, 1 week for girls, and they go up into that and just help learn what life skills about and such. We also fund Region 19 does for the Head Start program, has a big Christmas party for some of their kids in their program and so forth. And our club helps raise funds and so forth, so that we have a Christmas party, and I forget exactly when it's coming up here in December. And for all these children, we can make sure they get a book, they may get a stocking, and sometimes that's the only gift they'll get at Christmas time, and that's what the Rotary's behind. In that respect.
Super fun. I'm remembering as you're saying this, when I went to that one Rotary Club meeting, I spoke, but they were raising money for, I believe it was polio vaccines in Africa. And I think that was a big thing for the Rotary Club for probably a number of years.
That was Rotary International. That was their primary purpose when they first got started, was to eliminate polio.
But what a great thing. You come together, you learn something, and you're there to give.
Yes. Yes.
Super fun. So, again, if you're just joining us, we're with Rick Miller. He's been an accountant for 40 plus years. And Rick, we have, you're sitting here and our radio listeners can't see, but you have a little twinkle in your eye, you're smiling. And so I think we do need to kind of initiate you in a little tradition we have here on this radio program.
Here it comes.
Rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And we are Christian radio, so we do believe in right and wrong answers. However, as Christian radio, if you give a wrong answer, we do our very best not to judge you.
Okay.
We're not always successful.
Very good.
But we'll do our very best. So without further ado, Mac Daddy Del Norte, cue up the lightning round. All right, first question. It's a question you're asked when you go out to eat here in El Paso. So I'm not asking you the official Lauterbach-Borschel view on this. This is your view.
My view.
As Rick Miller. It's a question you're asked in restaurants. The question is, red or green?
Green.
Green, that is correct. And where's your favorite place to answer that question?
Favorite place to answer that question is and I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've had that question asked. But I think it's gonna be Avila's.
Avila's, I don't know that one. Where is that?
It is on Mesa Street.
Okay.
Down right near Thunderbird and Mesa Street.
Avila's.
Avila's.
I'll have to keep my eyes open for that one. Okay, next question. You have a guest coming to visit you here in El Paso.
Okay.
And you want to impress them with El Paso. They've never been here before. And so you don't put them up in a Motel 6 like you normally would. Maybe they're staying at your home. You're being very hospitable. Where is a place that you will take them to impress them with El Paso that's not a restaurant?
That is not a restaurant. I think would take them up to Trans Mountain or Tom Lee Park.
Okay, on Scenic Drive?
No, on Trans Mountain.
Oh, on Trans Mountain. Okay,
right.
So get the view?
Get the view. I mean, Scenic, you get a little more overview of El Paso.
Uh-huh.
But I just think that part is more of the touch.
You're more a Trans Mountain guy than a scenic.
Than a scenic.
Okay,
I'm more of a nature than.
Oh, very cool. And yeah, that's pretty good. All right, the Weiler Tramway's coming, so
that's true.
They're working on it. So if we don't have to choose anymore between Trans Mountain and scenic, we can go up the tramway.
Yeah, that's true.
In maybe 5 or 10 years. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
All right, so the San Jacinto Plaza, the Central Square in El Paso. Mm-hmm. What is the theme?
It's the alligators.
That is correct. All right, you're right. It is the alligators, and there's a sculpture of alligators. Do you know why the theme is alligators?
Other than when I was a child, that's an original El Paso when there were live alligators.
There were. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a sculpture now. How many alligators are in that sculpture?
I'm going to say 6, and that's a guess.
6? Oh, no.
Wrong answer.
4.
4
is the correct answer. We've only had one person answer correctly, I think, in the past 6 months, so that's okay. If you could snap your fingers and change one thing about El Paso, what would that thing be?
Currently?
Yes.
Traffic.
That is correct. At the beginning of this program, we say the world is looking at El Paso. What will we say to the world? And that is a big premise of this program. When I moved to El Paso, I saw that the world is looking at El Paso, but very often it's the national news outlets who come to El Paso to tell our story.
Right.
So as someone who makes El Paso your home, what is one thing you want the world to know about El Paso?
You have to come experience it. It's a fantastic place to raise a family. Having lived in major markets and so forth, there's a perception that there's a lot more to do, but really from the quality of life here in El Paso, it is none better.
Love it. And we only have about a minute left. If you could pray one prayer for El Paso, what would that prayer be?
That there would be peace, that the Lord would help let everybody know that He is in control, and that we are to seek Him first in our duties.
Amen. Amen. Rick, thank you so much for coming in today. Truly enjoyed this conversation. So much fun to learn a little bit more of how the world works when it comes to things like buying or selling a business, or really even understanding what's going on in your own business. So exactly. Appreciate your time today.
Well, I'm glad the opportunity was presented to me. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, and today we've been with Rick Miller. He's with Lauterbach Borschel, certified public accountants here in El Paso. As we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. In order to listen to previous editions of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media. Let's learn together to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.